Okay, we will call this meeting to order at 6:35 p.m. Hello and welcome to the Senate. To call to order our first item of the agenda, Senator Christian Arredondo. Present. Senator Reed Blake.
Present.
Senator Fabian Escobedo.
Present.
Senator Ali Isles.
Present.
Senator Akeem Brown.
Present.
Senator Jackie Jacoby.
Present.
Senator Colette Kane. Senator Delaney Koenig.
Present.
Senator Richard Lee. Senator Carlton Nguyen.
Present.
Senator Priscilla Perret.
Present.
Senator Jason Ramirez.
Present.
Senator Herman Senga.
Present.
Senator Summer Schaefer.
Present.
Senator Sam Mouet. President Pro Tempore Devin Plaza.
Present.
Personnel Director Ashley Hirano.
Present.
Marketing and Promotions Director Ravi Rathod. Excused. Elections Director Stephanie Rose.
Present.
Outreach Director Jessica Arquidez.
Present.
Senate Secretary Delia Chakri.
Present.
Senate Parliamentarian Rahul Singh. Vice President of Campus Internal Affairs Fernando Echeverria.
Present.
Vice President of External Affairs Abraham Galvan.
Here.
Vice President of Finance Ira Shang.
Present.
President Nafi Karim.
Present.
And myself. Okay, continuing on, we have our next item of approval of the agenda. There should be extra copies on the board for the members of the galley that would like to take a look. If there is, now would open the floor to motions to amend or adopt the agenda. Senator Jackie Jacoby.
Motion to add myself under section H, collaboration.
Are there any points or motions on the floor at this time? Fernando Echeverria.
I'd also like to add myself under collaboration.
Okay. Were there any points or motions on the floor at this time? Abraham Galvan.
I would also like to be added, we'll just do collaboration, it's fine.
Were there any other points or motions on the floor at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll now proceed in the order in which those motions were received. First, we have Senator Jackie Jacoby's motion to be added to the agenda. And actually, you know, we're just going to combine them all at once. So, all the motions to be added to the collaboration agenda item. Do I have a second? Seconded by Senator Akeem Brown. All those in favor? All those opposed? And abstain. Okay, 13-0-0, this passes. All right, continuing on, we have approval of the Senate minutes. As always, I will pass these around. Please feel free to take a look and sign with your signature on the back. Okay, at this time, move on to ex officio. If there are any ex officios in attendance in the galley tonight, if you'd like to come forward to state your name for the minutes purposes, and the floor is yours.
Right. Hello everyone. My name is Jorge Jareli. For CSP, we will be having our 21st Noche Cultural. And that night there's gonna be singers. Santa Cecilia is coming, and then there's gonna be a lot of dancing, like performers, ballet folklorico, and it's gonna be a good night to like see la cultura. For time and day, it'll be doors open at 6:30 and the show starts at 7. It'll be at the University Theater. As for the tickets, it'll be $10, and you could get them at the University Theater box office. Also, I wanted to mention that if you bring a group of 10 or more people, the price will be reduced by half, so it'll be $5. And this Friday, February 13th. That'll be it. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Were there any ex officios in the audience at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll now proceed on to our next section, public forum. We extend this invite to any members of the galley that would like to come forward and present new business or ideas or anything you like, actually, the Senate that you'd like to hear us state out. So at this time, please just come forward, state your name for the minutes, and the floor is yours. Okay, there's nobody who's a taker. We can proceed on to committee updates. Subsection 1, we have Outreach Committee. So I'll turn the floor over to our Outreach Director, Jessica Arquidez.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I just wanted to continue on with the deadlines for the outreach. I did receive information about the dates. I know that there was, I guess, some issues with the flyer and the email. So, originally on the bylaw, it states that the outreach hearing will be held on the 20th, which is correct, from 8 to 11. And the deadline is always from 3 days prior. So, it was either the 17th or the 18th. It is the deadline, the actual deadline will be the 18th by the time that the ASUCR office closes at 5 p.m. So the deadline is for the 18th, and that's 3 days before the 20th, so that's that. I had mentioned last week that we had our first meeting for outreach committee last Wednesday. Today we had our second, and we were able to elect our co-chair and our vice co-chair and our secretary. So we did discuss the meeting times that we'll be discussing more upcoming outreach events. We did decide that we're gonna focus our first outreach event on high school. We were gonna be presenting that information to the committee, but I just wanted to let Senate know beforehand that we're gonna be having an outreach hopefully at the beginning of spring quarter, focusing on high school students. So if y'all are interested in collaborating, I would, appreciate the help and also hope that we have collaboration with the Senate. If you are interested, our meetings are Wednesdays at 9 a.m. And if you wanted to go into more detail with the planning committee, we meet right after at 10. Most of the time we finish off a little earlier just because it's not too much information or not too much planning. It's more of the logistics that we're just getting started with everything. So that's same thing, Wednesdays at 9. That's pretty much it.
Would you please explain what the process is, or even if it's possible to bring in a distinguished lecturer or public speaker, and what amount of funds will we be able to allocate towards that speaker?
Unfortunately, for the funds that I have for outreach, I don't fund keynote speakers. So most of the time we get questions for our outreach, first off saying if we fund keynote speakers or if we fund the traveling of keynote speakers. Based on the allocated funds from the state, we are not able to. So unfortunately, we're not. But I mean, the basic things are more of the necessities for like the workshops, the food, any small snacks, different materials you would need to have the conference being held, publicity, marketing, media, room reservation fees, there's like additional media fees if you want to borrow a projector or like things like that. So that's really
President Ockenden.
Again, you could have like a hybrid outreach event with the keynote speaker. You would just go to ASUCR Finance for an additional grant. And you can get, I believe, $600. That's the limit for performers.
Would that include the travel? How would we work on travel? Just quickly, Sam and I are working on getting a Rhodes Scholar in, this African American guy who's studying medicine. And so Sam and I are trying to put together an event where we can show that men and women of color can breach the medical field, which there are not many. So this guy's a Rhodes Scholar, his name is Myron Rhodes. He's gonna be coming from Florida State. So, of course, we want to compensate him for coming and speaking, but how do we pay for his travel? That's the only thing.
That's more complicated. You'd have to go to finance, but I'm sure we can work something out.
Also you would have to consider, it's not what's good, risk management. So if anything were to happen and you would provide the funds and things like that, it's not that we wouldn't be able to provide the funds for it, it's just that there's a lot more logistics to flying someone or having them speak on campus and things like that. Any other questions?
Senator Jason Ramirez.
Yeah, so part of I know I keep bringing up my senior design, it's kind of sucky, but it's all about sustainability in the art garden, so we're actually doing like a big push for sustainability. We actually wanted to start outreaching to the local schools and things like that. We actually wanted to apply for the outreach grant and outreach funds. My only question was, if I was to put together a proposal for next Wednesday, the hearings would be that Friday, correct?
Yes.
And when would we expect the funds? Would we expect them next quarter, or would we expect it to do the actual outreach event next quarter or this quarter?
You can apply for the funds and have the event this quarter. A lot of the times we give at least 1 week. I give Maggie at least 1 week to transfer the funds. She's always, working ahead of time, and most of the time if we have the funds allocated and voted on by that night, we'll get it I'm not supposed to say, but I guess right away, she's very good at her job, but we always give at least 1 week. So if you were to have it, the hearing is on the 20th, it would be the following Friday.
If we wanted to shoot for the next quarter, for example, maybe week 3 or 4 of next quarter, would it still be possible to have that money allocated now as opposed to?
Yes, of
Having it
course.
over the
So,
next week or something?
on the application, there's a portion that states, if you would wanna have it before or after the event, and you would just say that you would wanna have it, before. The only thing that I would definitely recommend is getting a sponsoring department. I'm not sure what, department works with Art Garden, especially when you have a collaboration event. We're able to transfer funds through the FAU number, just because it's from one account to another account through the UC department. So it's a lot faster when you have a sponsoring department, and one of the requirements to apply is you have to have a sponsoring department.
And where can students like myself find this application?
The application is on the ASUCR website. You can choose to print it out, and we preferably ask that you type it. I understand the budgeting is a little bit different, but we ask that you type it. There's also an amazing seamless docs option. So if you wanted to save paper, you can always do that through email as well. But everything is at the ASUCR website, and we have a tab on the left-hand side for outreach funds.
You're awesome, thank you.
Also, I'm sorry, if you wanted to maybe meet after too, so that way we can work with you, yeah.
Great, thank you, Jessica. Okay, continuing on, subsection 2, we have our finance committee. At this time, I'll pass it over to our Vice President of Finance, Irish Shane.
Hi, so next Monday is a holiday, so our finance hearing will be moved to that Wednesday. And as for the allocations of this week, first we have $825 to the Pre-Vet Club, $998 to United Against Sweatshops, $750 to American Medical Women's Association, $750 to Footprints, $750 to International Justice Mission, $1,500 to the Sikh Student Association for their grant, $825 to Starving Artists, $1,098 to Project Josh and Friends, and lastly, $750 to the Ching Club. And that's it. There's
Senator Jackie.
motion to approve these allocations.
I'm so sorry, I had a question before you I know that student organizations were approaching me about the Monday holiday, and I don't know if it was miscommunication, but those student orgs let me know that they'll be having their meeting on Tuesday. Is there any way that you told the front desk, or if it's online, a different date? Because they were signing up for hearings, but this week was full, so they said they're gonna move it to next week, and because Monday's a holiday, the hearing was gonna be on Tuesday, so it is not on Tuesdays?
No, we already told the front desk, we already have the sign-up sheet that was given to the front desk. It says for next month.
Wednesday,
And
okay.
and orgs have already signed up, so
Yeah.
maybe they just got confused.
Okay then.
Senator Summershed.
For the orgs that did sign up or did allot times for this Monday, were they notified that it will be changed to Wednesday? Due to the holiday?
Wait, what was
So actually, I made a time slot for Monday, and I thought that it was going to be on Monday, and I know that that's a holiday, so I was a little bit confused as well, but for those organizations that did make a time for Monday and weren't notified that it was going to be changed to Wednesday?
Yeah, because I was notified it was gonna be Tuesday, because I signed up for Monday as well.
Wait, but the sign-up sheet that we gave to the front desk, it said for Wednesday. I don't think it was ever sent for this Monday, because Monday was a holiday anyways, so.
Okay, so if there was is there any way to get a hold of those organizations just to make sure that they know that it's Wednesday? Because I wasn't told that.
I was at time, so that's why.
I think we just assumed that it was like a national holiday and the paper said Wednesday, so when they signed up, we assumed that they know what they were signing up for.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Is the process to attend an outreach hearing to sign up a week prior, correct?
Finance hearing?
Yes, I'm sorry, finance hearing.
Yes. Sign up, you have to sign up, the deadline is this Friday to sign up for next week.
Correct. So my understanding is once that fills up, you have to attend the following week. So, for the process for me, it always fills up quickly. So I don't know if there was like the fact that it was filled up quickly beforehand, I don't know if there was miscommunication, but if maybe we'll just make sure to have it in the minutes now that it's addressed at the meeting. Just because I know if Summer faced that issue and I faced that issue as well, maybe students are facing that issue too. Just so we can move forward.
Senator Keenan.
Is there a way we can get this list of those individuals who did sign up and just notify them again, say, hey, just please be advised that the meeting is on Wednesday as opposed to
I've
Monday?
already gotten, sorry.
No, I'm done.
Yeah, but I've already gotten emails from orgs telling me, like, when they send me their budget, they already told me that they signed up for next Wednesdays. I haven't gotten, like, any confusions or anything, so this is new to me.
Yeah, I think the only reason where it's different is you're talking about people who actually like signed up online or in paper where they actually saw that it would be Wednesday. But when I signed up at the front desk, there was no like paper or online thing that said Wednesday on it. So when I signed up at the front desk, they didn't say, oh, it's on Wednesday instead of Monday. So any orgs that might have just gone to the front desk to sign up might have that confusion. Yeah.
Okay, I'll let the front desk.
Cool. Thanks.
If there are no more questions, I open the floor to motions. Senator Jackie Jacoby.
Motion to approve the allocations.
Motion to approve budget allocations by Senator Jackie Jacoby. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by President Pro Tempore Devin Plazo. All those in favor? All those opposed? And abstain. All right, at 12:01, this motion passes. Okay, well, moving speedily along, moving on to our next section on the agenda, Section H, collaboration. Move it over now to Senator Keith Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone in the gallery and everyone on the horseshoe. I have a few things, but I'll be short. First, I visited the marketing committee today and got help with preparing a flyer and promotion for a open forum to discuss textbooks and this issue that we're looking into regarding textbooks. So the marketing committee has agreed to use their budget to create flyers and do social media campaigns. And I'm hoping that either you, Mr. Chairman, or our Vice President of Campus Internal Affairs would provide a budget for food. I think next Thursday at noon would be a great day, but if we have food, then we know students will come. Whether they come and talk about the book issue or not, we want them to come in. As we saw, the piece, it was a big draw when it was Meet the Senate during the lunch hour. So I'm hoping that I can have either both of you all support or one of you all support to make that possible. And moving on, I realize that there is no way for a student to get anything that verifies their enrollment at UCR other than paying for an enrollment verification. So I'm applying for grad school, as some of us are, fellowships, as some of us are, and the only thing I can get is a degree audit, which comes with this. It says all my classes, it says the school, but what is it? Does not include, does not have my name. So what does that force me to do? It forces me to either A, pay for an official transcript, or B, pay for an enrollment verification. In any event, that's my only option. So I'm hoping that we can do something here in our office to urge or recommend the registrar at least include our names on the degree audit. That way we won't have to incur any expenses proving that we go here. And so I'm looking for some help on that. I've already reached out to Vice President of Campus Internal Affairs. He's offered to help me out on that. And I think that is something that the students would be appreciative of, especially those of us who are applying for grad school. Simply, a lot of universities offer it. It's the state level, some UC levels, a lot of the community colleges. You can simply go on and buy, not buy, but download for free an unofficial transcript. However, we don't have that option, and I think that we should do something about it as a student government. So if anybody has some inside information to that or would like to help me and our Vice President of Campus Internal Affairs on this thing, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Senator, if you can round that, it sounds like a great thing to bring up through legislation, for us to be able to take a stand on that and be able to ensure further action. That'd be really great. Thank you. So you have senators that would like to provide input? Okay. If there are no takers, we'll move on. Next on collaboration item, we have Senator Jackie Jacoby.
Hi y'all. My collaboration I wanted to do for actually the last 4 years on campus, I've been too afraid to, is to bring light to speech disorders and to students who have stutters, who have slurs, or have speech problems, because I've had one for 15 years. And I think it's highly misunderstood because it's often linked or assumed that it's linked to like anxiety and nervousness, which is not the case at all. And so I was thinking I was back in the brain recently, thinking of like cool titles for like a day or a week. I thought of a really cool title like called Talking Back, Speech Disorder Awareness Week or Month or Day, something like that. Just to help students be more informed regarding speech disorders, what they entail, what consequences they can have on students' lives, both on a personal level, verbal level, etc. So if anyone here finds that interesting or wants to possibly be involved in creating like a day or a week to shed light on that issue, I would be so down to working on that because I really am for sure going to. So whoever else wants to, I would love to have that kind of support. Yeah, thanks.
Senator Delaney Carter.
Hey.
Hi.
So I was gonna say this during the roundtable, but one of the projects I wanna do is like, I haven't thought of a cool thing like that, but like a positivity week. Just kind of like reminding people to be nice to each other, because like, I think it was Jason said in Meet the Senate, he was talking to someone that just felt kind of outcasted. And that really hit a nerve with me. I don't want anyone on our campus to feel that way, and that makes me really sad. And so I was trying to think of ideas like that, so maybe that could be like, we could like co-opt it and make it like, because I wanted to have it include inclusive language, because I know the conference that Reem and I helped out with, a lot of people just weren't aware of it. And we, that can always be hit home over and over, and so we could just say, you never know who you're talking to. So I think it's a good idea.
Yay.
Senator Jason Ramirez.
Yes, let's make moves.
Woo! Yay.
Task force.
Thanks, y'all.
Okay, proceeding on. Next, we have on our collaboration item, we have our campus, Vice President of Campus Internal Affairs, Fernando Echeverria.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Michael. So one of the first things is I wanted to update you all on the fellows pamphlet, the draft. They finished their first draft of the ASUCR pamphlet, which will contain information about all the positions, what to do in ASUCR, what exactly are our resources. So it's going to be more like a transition pamphlet. So once we're done with our terms, the next Senate's also going to have this pamphlet to actually explain the process so that the transition's easier in fall quarter. So they're going to start meeting with you all, so please have your schedules available, because they're going to start talking to you about your position and what you've done in order to create like a more all-inclusive pamphlet. They're also going to continue with their finals countdown, so they're asking for any senator's help. Pretty much the finals countdown, if you don't remember, last quarter, it's just something that they hold in Pentland, and it's specifically targeted for freshman students, and it's going to be kind of like their own final study event, so to say. So they're asking for help, so if any of you are interested, reach out to them, please. Events and fairs are going to be having a multicultural festival. It's going to be the same day as the Food Truck Festival, so we're asking for additional senators' help because it's going to be a very large event and we're going to need a lot more people than the current committee has. So we want to invite everyone to also participate in it. Coffee with a Cop is going to be on March 4th, so keep your schedules open, and it's going to be at the Bell Tower. So the mental health, my internal affairs lobby person is actually going to do a mental health event during finals week. It's going to be kind of posting different things to make, while people are studying, people are going to see what mental health really is and to kind of alleviate the stigma around it. So she's also requesting help from Senate. Her name is Alejandra Perez, and you can start contacting me about that as well. But these are all different projects that I want to kind of give you all the opportunity to participate in, just because I know some of you may not have something right now, or it's a long-term project, so you can get involved in a short-term project. So this is a little bigger bit of a topic, but last week I went to UCOP. I met with Janet Napolitano and we talked about transfer pathways. So she explained to me that UCOP is actually going to look to create transfer pathways, and just in case you don't know what that means, it's finding an easier way to have CC students, community college students, transfer into the UC and make it more of a streamlined process. But the reason that she's pursuing that policy is because Congress, our state Congress, asked her to do that in order for her to get funding for the UC. So this pathway is actually really tied to the purse. So they really want this to happen in order for them to give us additional funding so that our tuitions isn't hiked to the 5% level and to keep it at the 2% that they're actually talking about. So that she's kind of initiating this conversation and she's gonna start introducing it to every AS across the UC system. And she wants us to pressure our academic senate because they hold like the qualifications of what major courses should you have in order to transfer in, what the different departments require, and she wants everyone to streamline across the UC in order to make it easier for transfer students to actually transfer into the UC. But that's a huge initiative that she's taking on. I just wanted to update you all that that's a possibility in order to get money from the state, but it kind of has its costs. And then transfer pathways isn't guaranteed. By no means is it going to be a guaranteed process. It's just going to be to make you more competitive, so to say. I want to talk about the library real fast, just to give you updates on the library hours, 24/7. So the total cost to make it 3 extra days is $4,267.62. To make it for 2 weeks, it's $5,727.78 for 2 weeks. So the cost difference is about $1,000 in order to make it an extra week instead of just 3 days. I have the cost breakdown, so I just wanted to update you all. I will be talking to finance next week, but now I actually have the cost breakdown of everything, and I just wanted to let you know how much the final cost would end up being. And they did ask me about final snack wagon, so I think that's been done under NAFI last quarter. So they wanted to make sure that you were in contact with them because last time it was a bit of a disturbance because you didn't give them a heads up. So they want to make sure that you contact them beforehand so that they can collaborate with you if you're still doing it, and then if not, someone else, whoever it is. Make sure you get in contact with libraries just so that they know. So the last things I want to talk about are constitution related. Nafi, I wanted to ask you, because your chief of staff is in charge of the freshman fellows. My freshman fellows, and I know that Abe's also, have been complaining to me about not having their meetings. Every week they've only had one meeting since they've been all selected, and the program's supposed to be for the 3 quarters, and it's kind of sad that they've only had one meeting the entire year. So I want to make sure that if you need to talk to Oscar or what you need to do in order for them to have more consistent meetings and have more consistent objectives. As well as in the bylaws, it also requires us to give weekly reports, progress reports on our freshman fellows, so that's all ECAD members. So I want to make sure that at least bi-weekly that we all give an update as to the progress of our freshman fellows, just because we've never heard of them and a lot of them have never heard of each other. So I want to bring that to light. And I think that's going to be it for me. I'm going to let Abe talk about the rest of the things that I'm sure he's going to talk about. Thank you.
Yeah, so, I don't know if anybody else.
Summer had a hand, yeah.
Okay.
Senator, yeah, we'll take hands before we move on to the next section. Senator Summer Schaefer.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, I just wanted to say that I actually that's something that I noticed as well. That the freshman fellows hadn't been meeting, and it was concerning to me because being a freshman fellow is really beneficial to me being part of the office last year. So I actually talked to Oscar, and he said that the reason why he hadn't been meeting with the fellows was due to previous fellows telling him that the meetings were pointless, and so he was going about it in a different way. And that since he got the feedback from me and we met and discussed that, he said that he will get in contact with them, but that isn't as much information as yet. But I just wanted to let you know that I know him and talked to him.
Outreach Director Jessica Keegan.
I'm so sorry, mine isn't regarding the fresh fellows. I wanted to comment on that, but I think that's for another time. Mine is regarding like the food truck festival and the multicultural festival. Did you already send out the date for that and all of that? Because I know you mentioned it, but I don't know what date it falls on or anything.
I'm gonna have to check again, I think it's April 17th.
Okay, just because for all the events, you had mentioned them, but I don't know the dates for them, so I'd like to just make sure to have them. Because if it's an ASUCR event, I would want to be able to attend.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on the 17th, I'll check my calendar again, make sure that that's it at the end of the meeting. But did you get the other dates as well, the ones I
The
said?
Coffee with the Cop was next Wednesday?
It was March 4th.
Oh, I'm so sorry. And then the mental health,
It's gonna be during finals week.
and do you know?
It's gonna be throughout the week, yeah.
Okay, and then, thank you.
Oh, no problem.
I don't want to comment on that unless everyone else comments.
Were there any other hands at this time? Okay, at this time, I can move it on to our Vice President of External Affairs, Abraham Galvani.
Yeah, so first to comment on that, I knew I was next, so I didn't put my hand up already. But I know that that's the same sentiment that my fellows have unfortunately had, and I would just be, I guess, curious as to like which fellows were approached in regards to that, because I know that you would assume that you would ask the fellows that have been here and still are here, like, you know, maybe me or Fernando or you, but I know that that wasn't done. So I would just be really interested in knowing, I guess, which fellows were the ones that communicated this input. But I'll just put that out there. I do think that it's important for us to give updates, so just so that we can start off, because I know he's already talked about what his fellows are doing. My fellows right now, they're working on a teach-in series for our office, and so later this month, we'll be having a series of teach-ins on different topics related to the work that External Affairs is doing right now. So like one will be about tuition and just the general UC structure, like regions and stuff. Another one will be about U-Consent and regarding to that, and another one will be about voting. We're not doing one on Ignite because we already did an Ignite teach-in earlier this year. So that's what my fellows are working on right now, just in case anybody wanted to know. So that's that. My collaboration issue is twofold, and they're both more so internal. So first off, I really want us to have a discussion on how we can better communicate with each other. I think that that's something that I've been seeing like generally lacking. Today I posted earlier on the group meet how and at that point I was kind of just frustrated, that's why I put it. In regards to like some people have not been responding to emails from members of the public at all, or sometimes just not in a timely manner. And I'm not gonna call out individuals because that I think is a personal issue that I'll have to discuss with you at a later time. But it's been very unfortunate for me to hear from members of the public that there are just certain individuals that are consistently not replying to people's emails, that are consistently just not accessible in the office. There's no reason that I should be receiving messages asking me to text somebody to get them to respond to you. There's no reason for me to be receiving emails asking for information that another office handles, you know. So that's that issue. I know that, for example, there's I've received messages like just, oh, I'm asking you for this because I know that you'll respond. You know, like, what? I feel like everybody, member of the public, should feel like any member of AES would respond to them in a timely manner. But aside from that, I just seen generally like a lot of lack of communication going on. Like, for example, I found out about the ARGIA release and when that's gonna happen through housing. And I feel like that's very unfortunate because as a member of executive cabinet of AES, I should know when big events like these are happening and if there's any developments and whatnot. That's just one example of one thing that I've like heard through, and that one is the one that comes to mind most right now because it was like through a completely different department that I was finding out about the own work that we're doing. And so that was very unfortunate to me, and that just brought out what I think has been a general lack of communication. So I don't know if anybody has any ideas on how we can improve communication within the office, but I would really be interested in us having some discussion about that. So I don't have any ideas myself per se.
Outreach director.
Mine was regarding the promptly emails and response. I find it difficult just in the office to get anyone to like be present very often. There's a lot of people that I do see in the office, but I don't want to say that I don't see them consistently, but I know what days and what times that students are going to be there. But I also don't know when others are going to be there, so it's just kind of the ones that I see when I'm there. And you know, just based off the speakers that come in, I always email them or ask for their emails, and a lot of the times I get amazing responses like, "Wow, I didn't think anyone cared," or "Wow, why all of a sudden AS wants to do something?" And it really shocks me because if that's the approach or the response that we're getting, what does that mean for those who are attempting to get involved or that do view AS as a resource to them? So I think that like we should always be responding, even if it's taking the initiative to work on the projects. I was gonna announce it during public comment, but even Stahl and I had reached out to him and we're meeting and we're moving forward with the transfer community. And for Vincent and Paola, they were not even expecting a response. And now we have their general meeting set, we have their times, they were having just issues with them having a meeting space. They were meeting at CSP, so that's something that is basic that anyone can help them with. But the fact that they came to AS, we should help them with anything. ASUCR is a resource, it's a student government that is for all students, and that's why they voted us in.
Fernando Chipper.
Yeah, I was just gonna agree with everything that was said, because I also been receiving a lot of emails of members not communicating or not responding to emails and then having to dodge corners and contact your player, try to get different numbers from people just because of a lot of irresponsiveness. But one of the things that a gentleman said was, why are we not still posting if there are no new bylaws for senators, then they still have to do their hours and those hours should still be posted because we haven't got the new bylaws yet and we're not operating under those bylaws. We're still operating under the old bylaws. So they're wondering like why haven't we posted hours, what the update process is going to be, because none of that has been done because we've been presumably acting on the new bylaws that we introduced during retreat. So that was another question that I was going to pose for, probably this is going to go for EVP. So just what your comments on that are, as well as they also cited the Transparency Act as to why the minutes don't have who voted for what, because according to Transparency Act, it should be available as to what senators voted yes, what senators voted no, unless it's a personnel matter or something that was decided in closed session. And that's supposed to be available to the public as well.
That can be altered in the minutes, so we can keep record.
Okay.
That can be changed. To your other point on, I'm sorry, can you just?
The hours, send hours.
Right. As far as I was concerned, yes, it's not reflected in the new bylaws. However, it was just up to my bylaw interpretation of what hours could be. I did it more, not so much on having restrictiveness on requiring senators to be in the office, because there are a lot of things that we do that outreach and projects carry us to other sections of campus, and I didn't want to restrict that. So I tried to include an element of flexibility as a benefit to Senate, to be able to reflect projects that maybe be more ambitious and might extend outside the office, that might require things that take us to the campus. So that was something that I did on my interpretation, and of course it's an ongoing conversation. Thank you. Delaney Koenig, and then Jason Ramirez.
Maybe we could just clarify by saying, like, even though we don't have the tangible hours, like if someone emails us for a meeting, it is required to have that meeting, because that's how I interpret it, is if someone requests that you attend office hours and be there for office hours, you need to be there. Because
I will say that the front desk has a system of any student that comes in, they record exactly why they're there and their information, and then it's something that's given to me, and then I send it out. And then Jason.
Yeah, this is kind of going on an earlier point after kind of what Abe and Jessica mentioned. I've actually found it on different committees that I'm on and different projects they're working on. It's more difficult to actually get the senators to respond and get them to give me input than it is anybody else. In the early stages of one of the projects, I actually had to wait a couple of weeks before I got a response of something that I asked literally like a month ago, in the past. I think it's really sad, and I think that we all really need to, you know, I mean, we're getting paid, we got voted in here for a reason, we went through elections for this, and I just really appreciate it. I mean, myself included, I'm not holding myself accountable, we're really to start, you know, doing a lot better job of communicating with each other and making sure that we respond to, you know, emails, Zoom calls, and things like that. And it's a courteous thing that if someone emails you within at least the first 48 hours, if you don't know the answer, you should say, hey, at least I got your email, just letting you know, I'll get back to you. Because I've had people approach me saying, yeah, X person hasn't even responded to me yet, and I've been waiting an email for a couple weeks. And hey, can you text them and let them know to check their email or to respond to me? And no, it's not my job to do that. It's not Fernando's job to do that or Abe's job to do that. So we should all start taking more responsibility.
Great, thank you. Jessica?
Just to touch base off of the office hours and things like that, as outreach director, I work a lot with ethnic and gender programs and a lot of the other sponsoring departments, so you'll see me in the different offices. But one thing that I think works for me that maybe can work for everyone else is along the lines of the office hours, but is not restricting, is I give my schedule to the front desk, and I also have it on my whiteboard. So if anyone does want to set up a meeting, they come into the front office and they can always email me. I give them my personal email. A lot of the times I even give out my personal cell phone number. But I just kind of want to make sure that all students are accessible. So I think the best way to do that is to always make yourself available to them. And I would just recommend to do that as well. The front desk, Michael has a great system going like off of what he has of his interpretation of the bylaws. But if it's not communicated with the front desk, yourself and Michael, then you don't know what his interpretation of the bylaws is, so you would have to take that initiative. So I would just think that that's a good idea. Use the front desk as a resource to you as a senator, and give your availability to either Michael or the front office. So that way we can have set hours.
Great, thank you, Jessica. Okay, any other comments? Favorite?
Sorry, I realized I never said the whole second part. So that was the first part in terms of communication within the office. And then the second part, Fernando started touching a little bit on it, and we have been having ongoing conversations, but I think I'm gonna see whoever was gonna like run it before, if you're still down to like keep it moving, or maybe I should go ahead and take more initiative on it. But I really think it's time, because the elections are so close, to get working on fixing the Constitution. I know that a lot of us have been doing it like on our own in different ways. Like I right here have like been writing down things I'm gonna change or I want to change. And I know that everybody's been kind of doing that separately. So what I would like to do, and I unfortunately don't have our parliamentarian here, because I wanted to see if we could establish an ad hoc committee on the Constitution. I know that we had talked about it, but I don't know that we've made any ground on it. We could also do it informally if we want, but because what I was planning on doing was just kind of rewriting it and bringing a presentation to you all, either next Senate meeting or the one after that, on the matters. I'm really interested in, I think, a lot of things that are gonna take a lot of discussion on Senate. There are just things that I think need to be drastically changed within the office to improve the way that we run. So that's how I was gonna bring, I guess, more so a presentation. But I know that there are some folks that are also just interested more so in just like the inconsistencies in the Constitution and whatnot. But I wanted to do that, but I don't want to step on anybody's toes, because I know there's a lot of us that are working on it. Devin, I don't know if you have.
Well, actually, first, I'll take it in order of speakers list. We'll have Senator King Brown and Devin here.
I think she.
I think it's
Yeah,
the
that's
same thing.
We're probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My bad, go ahead.
So I know multiple senators on LRC have expressed their interest in kind of going over the Constitution. And if we want to kind of tack that on to the end of the next few meetings, we can kind of work on it there. It's just a suggestion, because I know multiple people have, and like, it's just a suggestion.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that it's come to a point where everybody recognizes that that's what we need to do. This is what I originally mentioned that we do it in the beginning, so now that there's obviously some support for it, let's go ahead and do it. I really don't care who takes lead on it, as long as it gets done. If you have great ideas, let's go with your ideas. Fernando's mentioned ideas, let's go with those. Let's just collaborate and do it. Now is really the time. It was time then, but it's more so time now that everybody recognizes the need to get it done. So let's just do it, period.
Senator Greenway. Abraham Galvin.
Yeah, so maybe Lori would be able to answer this question. Would we be able to move to establish an ad hoc committee without having, I guess, without having to make a bylaw for a committee?
Is an ad hoc committee is usually just a temporary committee, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think you could probably need to do that. I don't think it needs to be in a bylaw. And then, once the ad hoc, you're thinking an ad hoc committee to come up with a draft, and then it would go to LRC for final review.
Yeah, every
Yeah,
every
that's
legislation
fine.
would still go through there.
Yeah, I think the reason why you could do that.
So, at this point then, can I get a general show of who's interested in being in this committee? Okay, and who's gonna actually, make sure you think about if you're actually gonna show up, and if it's gonna interfere with things that you're already supposed to be doing.
Well, we need to set the time.
Yeah, I know, and you would think that you wouldn't have to say that, but.
No.
So,
Oh,
okay, so there's a lot of, alright, so how about this? I move to establish an ad hoc committee, and task Devin with appointing, let's say, I don't wanna make it too big, let's say 6 members to this committee.
Abraham, real quick, just to kind of go off the bylaws, because I just double checked just to make sure. Constitution. Underneath, I think it's section C of Article 4, the executive branch, the president appoints ad hoc committees, provided that the committee does not already exist within ASUCR job descriptions of the officers and directors.
So that's if we're creating a new bylaw.
No, yeah, it's all ad hoc committees.
Okay, let me look at it.
Go for it. Awesome.
Okay, so then in that case, I really think that,
We have the discussion right now.
okay, I guess maybe it was too quick to do this right now. So I'll take it back, and we can see how to make it work. It might just take that we introduce a bylaw update to Devin's, bylaws. But we'll see that. I'll get back to you, and if anybody's interested, we have that thread already, but I'll send it back out and we can have like something informal, because anybody can like submit any updates to legislation anyway, so.
Considering the level of interest from the Senate, I think it'd be great to continue meeting formally or informally to be able to discuss these things. Senator King.
Yeah, I also want to add to sort of streamline the process. Some of you have already done it. Abe, I know you've updated your bylaws. Iris, you've updated yours. Jessica, everybody has pretty much updated their bylaw. So I would suggest that us senators look at our own bylaws and start to make notes and suggestions on what we want to see. And at the end, we would have probably already rewritten the Constitution or amended it to be effective going forward. So let's do that as senators. I'm going to do that as well. Let's challenge ourselves as senators. ECAB has done it. Directors have done it. Let us go ahead and do it as senators.
Great, thank you. Are there any other hands for input at this time? Okay. Seeing none, we can continue. Section I of our agenda is public comment. For any members of the gallery that wish to come forward and present their input on anything that was just said during the course of this meeting, now is the full opportunity to do so. Okay, seeing no hands, we'll continue with roundtable and announcements. Starting from my left and circling around to my right, we'll begin with Senator Ali Adams.
Hi, I pass.
Senator Jackie Jacobitz.
Pass.
Senator Priscilla Frey.
Pass.
Senator Fabian Escobedo.
Pass.
Senator Herman Singer.
Pass.
Vice President, Campus Internal Affairs, Fernando Cheverria. External Affairs, Abraham Galvan.
I'll pass.
Okay, President Afikun.
Not pass. So next, we're going to start releasing our year next week. So keep on the lookout for your own, but we'll also be sending you emails in terms of help from Senate. We're working out the details right now. So as soon as we have the details in terms of the location and stuff like that confirmed, we will shoot that to you. And then if you're interested in helping, please let me know or respond to that email. Thank you.
Vice President of Finance, Irish Shea. President Pro Tem Board, Devin Plaza.
We have a birthday on the worksheet today, so can we all sing happy birthday to Carlton? I didn't even know it was your birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Carlton. Happy birthday to you.
Go ahead and skip the rest of the round, Jim. We'll go right to you. Take him out.
Take it back.
Take it
There you
Thank you. I'm turning 23, which is like really old. So, yeah, good luck on midterms and everything.
What are you trying to say about Keith?
I know, right?
You just start, you just start.
So good. Yeah, oh no.
Thank you, Devin. Elections Director Stephanie Rose. Irish Director Jessica Kibitz.
Hi, I just want to say good luck on midterms, but there's a training going on for those of you that are interested in the undocumented student programs. It's a DACA and DAPA training. It's going to be taking place on Tuesday, February 24th. There's 2 different sessions, and I think this is a huge, huge deal because of the fact that we still don't have an undocumented student programs location. It's right now inside of Chicano student programs. So all the UCs have their own center already, like their actual space. And none of them had their trainings. So we already facilitated one training. We already had a number of students who are already familiar with it, and this isn't even accessible to everyone. So not only are we having students that are educated on how to apply, but we're having students that are training other students, faculty members that are training others. So if you all wanted to get familiar with the applying process or just training on what it is and get more information, that'll take place from 5:30 to 7 and from 7:30 to 9 in the Tweet and Tartan room. Is that location, right? Okay, I wasn't sure if that was the right name, but that's where it's gonna take place. I attended the one on Saturday a couple weeks ago, and it was a really great event. It gets you educated and you feel very supportive of different communities, just because of the fact that you don't realize a lot of the different privileges that you have being, not having to go through the same process as others. So yeah, good luck on midterms.
Thank you, Jessica. Personnel Director Ashley Rock.
Hi, everyone. I would just like to invite everyone who's in attendance, anyone watching, and of course everyone in Senate, to the first event from the Associated Students Chancellor's Committee on Sexual Harassment and Sexual Violence Prevention. It's a spoken word event called Spoken Word Exposing Dating Violence, and it's on February 18th at 12 o'clock noon at the Bell Tower. It would be really great to see all of Senate out there help support. We're really excited. We put in a lot of prep work for this. Ravine and the marketing committee told me that the Facebook event would be on Facebook tonight. So I'd appreciate it if you just look out for that and share that event, click that you're going to that event, just so we can get the word out. And I'd also like to say thank you to Ali, Jackie, and Summer. And I'm going to say anyone else. Is that all the senators? Right? Yeah? Yep. Yeah, okay. So all the senators that helped. So yeah, the 3 of those girls that helped me with tabling today, as well as my committee, and also thank you to Gabe for helping tear down. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Ashley. Senator Keith Brown.
Cool. So one thing, Jose Medina, who's the assemblyman in our district here, he is now the chairman of the Higher Education Committee in our state legislature. So I'll be meeting with him on the 27th to take the resolution to the floor in regards to Transfer Awareness and Recognition Month, and which goes right along with streamlining the transfer process and pathway. So that's one up for UCR. And good luck on your midterms. Study well, and don't pull your hair out.
So sorry. Hey, Christian, pray directly. Pass, yeah. The lady coming.
Hi everyone, so just following up on my work with dining, so I spoke and met with them, and they're already working on allergen and nutritional signage. So I'm just working with them on speeding that up a little bit, because I guess I've been working on it for like more than a year. And then I'm also working with them on implementing more allergen options like I mentioned before. So if you all have any ideas of like what kind of food you'd like to see represented, please let me know, because I only know what kind of food I like to eat. So yeah, definitely let me know. And then tomorrow at 7 p.m. in Hub 302, there's an event called A Call to Men, which is Healthy Masculinity and Sexual Violence Prevention. And I think it'd be really, really great, and it's very important that at least some of us attend, just to show our solidarity with this. I know all the student orgs got an email about it, so it'd be awesome if we could go. 7 p.m. in Hub 302. And it's free. They might have food.
Okay, thanks.
When was
Senator?
it?
Oh, sorry.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Senator Michelle.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo Ashley's sentiments about today. Thank you for everyone who was there and helped out. We could have used a lot more help, and so I hope in the future, like when we all reach out to you for tabling or when we need help, like passing stuff out. We have a lot of really great campaigns going on right now. The Youth Consent campaign, we passed out consent grams today, and that was really successful. Ashley has been putting tons of work into this committee, and she's been doing some really awesome stuff. And this the events that are going to be happening this month are going to be really great. So I really encourage you all to come out to those.
Senator Jason Reyes.
Yeah, I just want to briefly let you all know that in the coming weeks here, my senior design groups start working really hard on the art garden. I know I keep bringing that up. We're actually doing a great thing for it. We're adding a bunch of sustainable amenities and things like that. We're going to make it really awesome. We're going to have like a compostable toilet in there. We're going to have like some soap plants and stuff like that. We'll probably do some outreach events. So if you guys ever are down to help me out or help us out, I'd be really happy if you did, because we have to move a lot of stuff. We have to, do a lot of other things, and it's gonna be a doozy. But if you guys are interested, let me know.
I have a question for you right
Yes.
now. So embarrassing. So I'm sorry. Where is the art garden?
That's a great question, because I didn't know either, really. So the art garden is actually like right next to lot 30.
Okay.
It's like if you're going down MLK, going towards Chicago, it's literally the first light on the right. You go straight down that, and on the left-hand side, you'll see it. There's a sign there that says it.
Okay, got it.
Also, for everybody watching at home, anybody in the gallery, and
Hi, Bob.
and all the senators on the horseshoe and all of Senate, I encourage you all to let your friends know about elections, get them going. There's an email that went out earlier this week, I believe it was yesterday, maybe Monday. And so if you guys know anybody that's interested, let them know. If you're interested, viewers at home, go online. And yeah, so
Sponsored by Pepsi.
Sponsored by Pepsi. All right, that's all I have.
Okay. At this time, we will now move into closed session. So I do want to thank the galley for coming out. We always like to see constituents that we serve. We wish you a lovable house.
Thank you.
So thank you for coming out tonight.
Galley.
Considering we've only been here for an hour, we are actually going to move straight into closed session, so there will not be a recess, if that's fine with everyone.
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
You should like